Hello everybody, this is final revision, grade 4 poetry and criticism, 21-22 second semester. Before starting our final revision, would like to know what are the poems that we have studied and we have to study for the final exam. About the Victorian poetry, or the poetry of the 19th century in England. We have studied Ulysses by Alfred Tennyson. We have studied My Lost Duchess by Robert Browning. We have studied The Song of the Shirt by Thomas Hood. We have studied The Cry of Children by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. These are only the Victorian poems that you have to study. Then we studied the modern poetry or poetry belonging to the 20th century. We have studied T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland and the Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Both are two very important poems. We have studied W.B. Yeats' Easter 1916. We have studied Wilfred Owen's Arms and the Boy. We have studied Sylvia Plath's Lady Lazarus. We have studied Musée du Beaux Arts. We have studied The Red Whale Barrow by William Carlos Williams. For the American poetry, we have studied Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. We have studied Because I Couldn't Stop for This by Emily Dickinson. We have studied Robert Frost's Mending Wall. Now, of course, a specific inquiry or question will attract your attention that there are some poems we have studied and we haven't mentioned here. These poems are cancelled from our syllabus. They will not be included in the exam. Langston Hughes, I Too Sing America, Langston Hughes Dreams, Ezra Pounds In a Station of a Metro. All these poems are cancelled. They will not be included in the final exam. So right now we have known what are the poems that you have to study for your final exam. Then we will take the form and the number of questions forming the final exam. The first question in the final exam, which consists of three major parts. Part 1 or question 1, identify and comment. By identify and comment, you will be given two obligatory poems. So you have no choices, you have to answer them. You will be asked to mention the age, whether Victorian or American or modern age. If it's modern, if it's American or British or Irish. Then you have to mention the school, the poetic school to which the poem belongs, whether it's imagism or surrealism, يعني or any other kind of school. Of course, you have to mention the name of the poet and a brief background about him, very brief background, just 2 sentences. You have to mention, of course, the name of the poem, and then you have to mention the themes and the particular figures of speech and particular technical aspects related to this part, whether it has a dramatic monologue, for instance, whether it has irony, whether it has metaphors, parallelism, any kind of figures of speech together with the theme. What about these two obligatory poems? We have mentioned them in the previous final revision video specified for all years. The previous final revision videos for all grades is mentioning what are the poems that you have to study for this question. Then part 2 is short notes. In this part, you have 8 short notes questions, and you have to choose 6 short notes. Every short note is about a specific point in every poem from the poems you have studied. For example, the symbolism in one of these poems, the features of the dramatic monologue of the second poem, the importance of the refrain or the repeated lines in one of the poems, the persona or the character in one of the poems, the surrealist elements, the features of the anti-hero, the features of the Amethyst School. These questions in relation to the poem and the proper answer should be in one paragraph length. Question 3 or part 3 in your final exam will be obligatory section. It consists of many true or false questions. You are supposed to correct the mistakes in the false questions, but you are not supposed to give any justification for the true statements. But excellent students who are very much interested to obtain high marks, they can justify both the true and false questions. But normally you are not asked to justify the true questions, so that you will not lose any marks. You will not lose any marks if you don't give any justification for the true statements. You are only asked to justify or correct the mistakes in the false statements. These statements are obligatory, and they are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are about 5 true or false questions, 5 obligatory statements. Of course, the exam will not is not going to be a bubble sheet exam. I hope you organize your answer and to write your answer in a manner that express your understanding of the course, not memorizing without any understanding. The exam is various in questions. No one poem is going to be repeated in another question or in another section. You have to be very focused in your studying, and wishing you all the best of luck.